All right, today we're diving into an incredible story. It's about a teacher who gets murdered by one of her own students, but then, somehow, gets a second chance to stop it from ever happening.
So I want you to imagine this. It's graduation day. It's supposed to be a day of celebration, right? But for you, it ends with a fall, push from a bridge. And the very last thing you see is the sleeve of a school uniform belonging to one of the students you just congratulated. And then, bam! You wake up, you're in your own bed, and the calendar says it's exactly 1 year earlier. You've been given a single year to figure out which one of your students is going to become your killer and somehow find a way to stop them. That is the wild, impossible situation at the heart of the story we're breaking down today.
So our main character is Rina, a high school teacher, and on her graduation day, of all days, she's pushed from a bridge by a student. I mean, can you imagine? As she's falling, her last thought is this desperate wish, I just want to know who did this to me. And, well, you know what they say, be careful what you wish for, because somehow that wish gets granted.
So she gets hurled back in time, a full year, but she's not coming back empty-handed. She's got these fragmented but absolutely crucial pieces of knowledge about the future. She doesn't just know about her own murder, she also knows about these tragedies waiting for some of her students. She remembers these key dates of despair, like a student named Yugiri planning to take her own life on May 23rd, and another student who's going to commit a crime on August 31st. So she puts two and two together pretty fast. Her only shot at survival isn't just, playing detective to find her future killer. No, it's about getting to the root of the problem. She believes that if she can actually reach out and help her students, change what leads them to such dark places, she can rewrite their futures and, in the process, rewrite her own. And Rina does not waste a single second. She completely flips her old, kinda detached teaching style on its head and starts diving right into her students' lives, starting with the most urgent case she remembers. Right, so she knows Yugiri is on this terrible path, so she makes her priority number one. Rina discovers that Yugiri is being relentlessly bullied. But here's the thing, instead of just dishing out punishments, Rina gets smart. She plants hidden cameras, recording devices. She gets the proof. She catches them red-handed and forces this big confrontation where for the first time, Yugiri actually feels heard and like someone is in her corner. Okay, next up, there's a student named Yusuke. On the surface, it just looks like he's lazy, not doing his work, but Rina digs deeper and uncovers this really painful secret. His mom is forcing him to work multiple jobs, and then she's taking all his money to buy luxuries for herself. He has literally no time or energy for school. So Rina goes straight to the source. She confronts the mother, gets Yusuke's best friend involved for backup, and together, they actually manage to get through to her. They save his academic future. So at this point, Rina's on a roll, right? She's succeeding. She's changing lives. She's fixing problems, building real trust. It really seems like she's on the right track to change her own grim fate. But, and there's always a but, she's about to learn that messing with the timeline is way more fragile and a whole lot more dangerous than she ever could have imagined. So let's go back to her first big win, right? She saved Yugiri. The day Yugiri was supposed to die by suicide in the original timeline. It comes and goes. She's alive. She's even making friends. She's happy. And it's all because Rina stepped in. It feels like a total victory. But it turns out, you can't just pull one thread from the tapestry of time without the whole picture starting to unravel. Rina's actions had consequences. Side effects she never could have seen coming. Yeah, the future didn't just magically get better. It mutated. It turned into something different, something darker. The tragedy she was so sure she had stopped just found a new, horrifying way to happen. So on the exact same day, Yugiri was supposed to die in the original timeline, she falls from the school roof. Now the police, they rule it a suicide, but Rina knows. She knows that's not what happened. And just like that, her entire mission has changed. She's not just trying to prevent a future murder anymore, she now has to solve one that's already happened. Rina goes to Yugiri's mother and makes this solemn promise. She will find the person responsible for this. But this time, she's not working alone. The very students whose lives she's been changing, they now rally around her, determined to uncover the truth together. So the investigation basically becomes this class-wide effort. Their first suspect is this outsider kid, Shago, but that turns into a dead end pretty quick. Then, one of the former bullies actually confesses to some vandalism, but he has a solid alibi for the time of death. The trail finally leads them right back inside their own classroom, to a trio of girls who were really resentful of all the positive changes Rina had made. See, they hated losing their power over other students, and they especially hated that Yugiri wasn't afraid of them anymore. And then the girls confessed the heartbreaking truth. They had tried to blackmail Yugiri using a secretly recorded video. When Yugiri fought back, trying to get the memory card, a struggle broke out right near the edge of the roof. So her fall, it wasn't a cold-blooded murder. It was a tragic, awful accident born from their cruelty.
So the mystery of Yugiri's tragic death is solved, but Rina's original, terrifying problem is still hanging over her head. The person who is destined to kill her is still out there, and graduation day is getting closer and closer.
And then, the day is here, graduation. The ceremony ends, and instead of running from her fate, Rina walks directly to that bridge, the place where it all began. She's not a victim this time. She's there for a confrontation. And just as she expected, she hears footsteps approaching from behind.
She turns around and who is it? It's Hisaki, the quiet, friendly transfer student who just kind of blended into the background all year. But behind that harmless mask is a seriously disturbed person. He sees his own life as boring, like watching a black and white TV, and he's willing to do literally anything, even kill somebody, just for a little excitement.
And he just confesses everything, revealing how deep his malice really runs. He wasn't just planning to kill Rina. He was the secret architect behind Yugiri's death, too. He was the one who recorded that blackmail video and gave it to the other girls, setting that entire tragic chain of events in motion, all for his own twisted entertainment.
So Hisaki, now totally exposed, tries to end his own life by jumping from the bridge. But Rina refuses to let another tragedy happen on her watch. She lunges, she grabs his hand, and then suddenly her husband, who's been supporting her through this whole impossible year, is there too, and together they pull him back from the edge.
And for a split second, it really seems like it's all over. The crisis is averted. But then there's one last shocking twist. Shago, the outsider kid who was wrongly suspected in Yugiri's death, appears out of nowhere and stabs Rina. The danger was never just from one person. But this is where all of her hard work over the last year finally pays off. The rest of the students who had followed her to the bridge because they were worried about her, they immediately tackle Shago, saving her from any more harm. Rina is rushed to the hospital and she survives. She wakes up and she's surrounded by the faces of all the students she fought so hard for. The future has been rewritten. It wasn't clean, it wasn't painless, but it is definitely better. It ends with a smile.
You know, Rina's whole journey leaves us with this really powerful question to think about. She faced death, she literally rewrote time, and she went through unimaginable physical and emotional pain. Not just to save herself, but to give her students a real chance at a better life. It just makes you wonder, what is the true impact one dedicated person can have when they decide to fight back against despair?